Hey guys and gals, my name is Scott, and today we're going to solve the repeated DNA sequences problem on LeetCode. Let's go through the problem definition. It says all DNA is composed of a series of nucleotides, abbreviated A, C, G, and T. Here's an example of what that sequence might look like. When studying DNA, it is sometimes useful to identify repeated sequences within the DNA. We're going to write a function to find all the 10-letter long substrings that occur more than once in a DNA molecule. Here's the example we're given. This is an example of a DNA molecule, and here's what we'll return. Both of these 10-letter long strings occur twice in this string. So that is really all there is to that. This could be helpful if, say, you were a biophysicist working at a biophysics company and needed some way of quickly analyzing patterns in DNA sequences. So let's implement it. We're going to first set up a list of strings to return. I'm going to call it repeats so we know what we're looking at here. Set that up as a new array list. I'm going to put return repeats down here so we don't forget it. So the first thing we're going to check if the length of the string is less than or equal to 10. Then we will just return repeats. It's empty at that time. If the string's length is less or equal to 10, then there's no way that a 10 length long substring could repeat in it. So we're going to set up a low pointer to be 0, a high pointer as 10. That'll be delimiters for the substrings we're going to look at. Now we're going to use a hash set of strings. We call it scene. And what this is going to do is it's going to keep track of all the strings that we have seen so far, all the substrings we've seen so far in this DNA molecule. If you ever need to remember things that you've seen before, use a hash set, because a hash set is basically magic, which lets us determine if we've seen something or not in constant time. Now we're going to loop. We're going to while I less or equal to s.length. Basically just looping through all the substrings in the string. We're going to pull out a substring of length 10, s.substring from low to high. It's just pulling out a substring of length 10. Now, if we've seen this substring, what are we going to do if we've seen this substring? Well, first off, we need to make sure that we haven't already put it into our repeating pattern, because if it repeats more than once, we just want to have it in our repeating return array once. So if we get into here, what that means is we have a substring that has repeated, and we haven't already put it into our repeating substring array, so we just add it. Okay. Now what happens when we see a substring that we have not already seen? We put it into our scene hash set, so we remember that we've seen it. And then down here at the bottom, we will just increment our pointers. And that should do it. Let's run it, see what kind of syntax errors might be floating around. Any I's that have not been dotted, T's that have not been crossed. 20. Oh, of course, semicolons are important in Java. Throw that guy in there. Finished. Looks like we got the right answer. Let's go ahead and submit. Alright, got an accepted result. So, biggest thing to take away is hash sets, hash tables. Whenever you're faced with a problem where you need to remember things you've seen before, use a hash set. It's going to let you look up what you've seen in constant time, basically using math magic, and it is great. So, that is it for this video. Hopefully you learned something, and we'll see you next time.